Broadcasting live from the University of North Texas. This is NTTV Nightly News.
A weekend of tornadoes tore through the Midwest, leaving death and destruction. But one family experienced a miracle like no other.
And A-train safety upgrades are on track. We have the details.
And UNT let the dogs out. Our canines prepare for major competition.
Thanks for joining us on NTTV Nightly News. I'm Steve Hendricks.
And I'm Cezanne Barzani. Republican presidential hopefuls gear up for what many expect to be the turning point of the GOP race to the White House. Super Tuesday is tomorrow as candidates Mitt Romney, Rick Santorum, Newt Gingrich, and Ron Paul will battle for 419 delegates in 10 states. Polls predict Romney may pick up more than half of the total delegates, but Santorum refuses to give up without a fight, calling his campaign the David against Romney's Goliath. Both candidates were in Ohio looking for votes and discussing the economy. Gingrich campaigned in Tennessee and stressed he plans to stay in the race. Ron Paul turned his focus to Alaska, where he hopes to claim his first win of the campaign season. Tomorrow will certainly turn the tables in what's been an unpredictable race.
Now, Super Tuesday is looming and carries a big political impact, but some elections here in the Denton area are just as important. Now, there are the local elections. Today is the deadline for candidates who want to file to be on the May 12th ballot. During that election, voters will choose their city council board members or representatives. Now, the mayoral contest will be among incumbent Mark Burrows and two challengers, Neil Durrance and Donna Woodfork. As for state and national elections, that primary will be held May 29th. In that election, voters will choose their Republican or Democratic candidates for the November ballot.
If you don't know how to say gesundheit or bless you, you'd better learn because it's likely you will be saying it to a lot of people. It's allergy season in North Texas, which means sneezing, sniffling, and lots of runny eyes. Early March is the peak time for plants to bloom, and that means pollen will be everywhere. One problem is the changing weather. You can expect lots of Kleenex for UNT students.
It turned out really nice. It's a lot more sunny, trees are more in bloom. It actually feels more like, I guess, a traditional Texas summer, springtime.
Well, I was kind of bummed out because it was like we didn't even have a winter. You know, had 2 days of wintry weather and then it was gone.
Some people have been getting kind of sick, but I think there's still just kind of remnants from the drastic weather changes and all that stuff. So once we kind of stabilize here, I think everybody will pick up a little bit.
A lot of times when you have like dramatic changes of weather, yeah, you can come down for a day or two for runny nose and headaches and stuff.
Allergy specialist Dr. Samuel Foster says while some places see problems in the summer or fall, here in North Texas, it's springtime.
During the wintertime, there usually aren't too many trees pollinating. However, in Central and North Texas, we have mountain cedar and juniper that many people are allergic to, so we'll often see pretty severe pollen seasons then, and people who are sensitive to those trees will often have pretty bad allergy symptoms.
He also says you know it's an allergy when you sneeze, have a runny nose, congestion, and your throat is raspy. Sounds great. And of course, there's more. Your eyes are watery and itchy.
Now, Cezanne, you know, here in Texas it's springtime, and of course it's beautiful, but there's allergies too, and that really bothers me.
You know, it's nice outside and I was enjoying the weather today, but I'm gonna have to say my allergies are kicking up a notch.
You were feeling a little bit of action going on right in here.
Definitely, itchy eyes, everything. It's just really unfortunate.
Hopefully Kelly doesn't have allergies. Kelly, what's going on outside?
I actually have horrible allergies, and they have been picking up this past weekend. But I have been enjoying this warm weather as well. I actually put on too many layers today and had to take some off. But right now, we did have sunny skies all day today. Hopefully, you guys got to go out and enjoy them because the sun is starting to set. But right now, our temperature is at 74 degrees, sunny skies, like I said. Our winds are picking up from the south-southwest at 10 miles per hour. Our humidity is at 28%. Dew point at 39 degrees, and our pressure is at 30.28 inches. Stick around and I'll have our full forecast for you later on this evening. Back to you at the desk, Cezanne and Steve.
Well, thanks, Kelly. The A-Train has encountered a few problems with safety issues over the past few months. Now, after experiencing 2 fatalities and an injury, the Denton County Transportation Authority is in the process of creating new safety guidelines for commuters. Tonight, a community open discussion will be held by the DCTA to raise awareness about the safety hazards and upcoming changes in the new safety guidelines. Our own Ethan Hutchins has the scoop.
Commuters could be seeing a change with public transportation in the coming months. The Denton County Transportation Authority is looking into creating new guidelines for those who use the buses and the A train.
And it's really our efforts to continue to communicate to the community about the consequences for decision making in and around the rail corridor, whether it's at the rail crossing, on a station platform, or in unauthorized areas.
With 7 incidents involving the A train and 1 just a few weeks ago, DCTA spokeswoman Dee Leggett hopes that the citizens understand the hazards that railroads can present.
A rail corridor is dedicated for one thing, and that's to operate a railroad. It's not for walking, jogging, etc. We do have a dedicated, bicycle pedestrian path, but in those unauthorized areas, it's strictly for operating a railroad.
To help educate the public, DCTA has created a campaign called Consider the Impact, where they hope to use enforcement, engineering, and education as their key elements.
Are there other things we can do from an engineering perspective? How can we better work with our communities on enforcement of traffic safety laws and criminal trespass laws? And then how can we, DCTA, and our communities better work to educate about rail safety?
Hopefully, with this new strategy, incidents that have occurred in the past won't happen again in the future.
A Southwest Airlines flight from Houston to Dallas was canceled today after passengers spotted a box cutter in the plane's overhead bin. The captain alerted airport security after the passenger turned the weapon over to the crew member. All 97 passengers were taken off the airplane, rescreened, and rebooked onto other flights. All operations at Houston's Hobby Airport are now normal. And another kind of security scare today here in our area. A Dallas high school was on temporary lockdown after a teacher reported getting a letter filled with a white powdery substance. Police called in the hazardous materials team to investigate the incident at Sunset High School. However, there was no problem as authorities announced the powder was simply cornstarch. No word who sent the letter in the first place.
All right, North Texas, now the time has come to put our dogs to a test. It's a drug test. This week, UNT's K-9 units train hard for next week's national competition in Coppell. The dogs will have to prove their skills in a series of obstacle courses and an obedience test to determine if they are indeed fit for their job. NTTV's Matt Torres has the scoop.
They're as obedient as the order you yell and playful with every toy that you get. But they're not just any dogs. They're the local K-9 dogs. And their goal? Keep the students of UNT safe.
They're constantly out there on patrol. They're working when you're asleep and you don't know they're working. They're still out there.
The UNT Police Department have 3 dogs, 2 narcotics, and 1 explosives. And on this windy day, the dogs tackle an obstacle course through running, jumping, and listening to their handlers, all in efforts to pass a certification test each year.
We have certain steps and certifications that they require for the dogs to be certified.
It's also a competition. Regionals are held that invites K-9 teams from all over the area to determine one thing: who's top dog. From going through hurdles to obedience tests, these dogs are more than prepared.
All 3 are doing a great job right now.
And for Ricky Olivares, his explosives dog Quint has grown to be more than just a worker.
So they become a family, It's just like your pet at home. Well, this guy actually works with me, so he's with me all the time.
They live at your house with you. They work with you. They're with you more than your kids or your wife.
Training is held twice a week, but with loyal handlers and community recognition, dogs like Quint has already won. For NTTV News, I'm Matthew Torres.
Well, when we come back, we will update you with news that is happening around the world.
And the latest way to save gas? It's called slugging, and we'll explain when we return.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. you could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
30 minutes a day of physical activity can improve your health and decrease your risk of heart disease. So start walking for yourself. Start walking with your family. Start walking with your friends. Start a movement in your community. Start walking. Start something. To join the movement, log on to heart.org/start and help start something now.
Separate raw meats from other foods by using different cutting boards. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Up to 40% of businesses never recover after experiencing a major disaster. Make a plan at ready.gov/business.
Tonight, as the situation in Syria worsens, U.S. Senator John McCain is calling for the U.S. to lead an international airstrike against Syria. McCain says the U.S. has a moral and strategic obligation to force out President Assad and his loyalists. Meanwhile, Canada joined the U.S., Britain, and France in closing their embassies in Syria. Canada closed the embassy due to the crackdown by Assad's government. The U.S. also placing economic sanctions on Syria in response to the government's violence against its people. Any thoughts that the weekend elections in Russia would be peaceful have ended. A crowd of more than 20,000 people rallied in downtown Moscow today, opposing what they called election fraud by the Prime Minister Vladimir Putin. He won in a landslide, winning over 64% of the vote. Now, hundreds of police in riot gear have moved into the area, arresting dozens of people, including opposition leaders. The prospect of Iran having nuclear weapons capabilities continues to be a major concern tonight. President Barack Obama and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met today at the White House to discuss the situation. Both countries vowed to keep Iran from building nuclear weapons. Israel is pushing for a possible military strike against Iran. The United States wants to wait first for economic sanctions and international pressure to have an impact. Iran says it's using nuclear energy just for civilian purposes, but the head of the International Atomic Energy Agency warns that his group is concerned about Iran creating nuclear weapons. Iran refused to allow inspections at their plants, so it's impossible to know if the program is peaceful, as Iran claims. Steve, back to you.
Thanks, Suzanne. Now, tornadoes usually cause massive damage and leave homes and buildings in ruins. Multiple tornadoes hit across the Midwest and Southeast, killing 39 people and causing millions of dollars in damage. However, one twister's winds turned a tragedy into a miracle. CNN's Jeff Smith tells the story of one true miracle.
The girls were half asleep when the hospital van pulled up at Grandma's house. 4-year-old Ayana has stitches in her hand and deep cuts to her face. So does her 3-year-old sister, Amber.
You see, I told you they was going to be happy when we came home.
But they are alive.
We've been in the house 8 years. Everything we've been together for our 13-year relationship. Gone in 30 seconds.
LaTanya has no recollection of the twister. She says she remembers being on the 2nd floor, sitting in the hallway.
It started lightning, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die.
The next thing she remembers, she was still sitting down, only now she was on the ground, and only one of her 4 kids was still sitting beside her.
I just held her, and I started rocking, and I started praying. And I didn't know, after that, I just started screaming.
3 of LaTanya's children were sucked out of the house and into the backyard. 7-year-old Jamal was thrown more than 50 feet, dangerously close to Interstate 485.
And the fence separated us from 485, and he was over that fence.
Jamal has bruises all over his body. He was so stiff he could barely sit up from the couch to welcome his baby sister's home. All 4 kids were hospitalized, but no one had serious injuries. Doctors from other floors at the hospital came to their room just to see them and give them a special nickname.
And they looked at them and they couldn't believe it.
They called them miracle babies.
They called them miracle babies.
Now, NTTV spoke with Denton County Red Cross officials this afternoon. So far, only key leadership personnel from this area have been sent to the storm damage in the Midwest and Southeast. At the moment, the local Red Cross in these areas are handling the relief efforts, but will call for help if needed. NTTV will have more on the local effort tomorrow on the 6 p.m. news. Now, Suzanne, I mean, it's unfortunate about that tornado and stuff, but that's a really cool story about those kids.
Definitely, and I just think that it makes you appreciate the nice weather that we have here in Denton, because the weather has been so unfortunately bad for other parts of the U.S.
It's been gorgeous.
Hopefully it sticks around throughout the week, I hope. Kelly, is it going to stick around throughout the week?
It looks like it is going to stick around. We may have some rain coming on in Wednesday, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's take a look at our national forecast first. Right now, if you take a look on into the northwest, we're going to see 46 degrees in New York, 35 in Chicago. They actually have pretty calm weather for the next few days with a little bit of wind picking up and some rain. But other than that, very clear skies throughout the week. But as we take a look on into the Midwest, we're going to see 31 in Minneapolis, 57 in Billings. They do have a cold front coming in with some rain and some wind to pick up throughout this region, and it's going to go all the way on into the west. So right now in Seattle, it's 44 degrees, 80 degrees in Los Angeles, very warm as well as Phoenix. So they're going to have a cold front coming in as well, affecting parts of Montana and California, with snow and rain coming in. Snow that will pick up to possibly 12 feet and wind that will pick up to possibly 80 miles per hour in parts of Utah, California, and Arizona. So we're going to be on the lookout for that. But let's take a look on into our Texas forecast to see what's happening in our neck of the woods. As you can see, sunny skies throughout Texas right now, and our temperatures all at 70 degrees. So it's very beautiful weather for Texas today. 72 in Amarillo, 73 in Lubbock. Partly cloudy. El Paso had 71 degrees, but still very warm outside. We do have winds that will continue to target the south. And in Lubbock and Amarillo in particular, they do have a fire weather warning until tomorrow at 8 p.m. But on top of that, there is a possible snowstorm that is developing for the whole entire Panhandle region. So we're just going to have to keep an eye on that for the next few days. But let's take a look at our national forecast to see what's happening this week. As you can see for this week, we do have our warm temperatures, like I said, but through Wednesday and Saturday, you will see a thunderstorm that will continue to develop, and it will drop our lows into the 40s for just Thursday and Friday. So that's very temporary, and the temperatures for the highs will be 56 on Friday and Saturday, but not to worry, it will pick back up to the 70s on Sunday and Monday. So we do have that to look forward to. But let's take a look at our forecast for tonight to see our weather. Right now, it will be mostly clear outside. Our winds will pick up very briefly to 13 miles per hour and up into 20 miles per hour throughout the evening. But it will be 50 degrees, and our sunset will be at 6:29 p.m. That's all the weather I have for you guys. Back to you at the desk, Steve.
Well, thanks, Kelly. Now, with the weather warming up, summer is just around the corner, and that means more driving, which means gas prices traditionally go up. Now, along with the continuing conflict in the Middle East impacting those prices, people have started to innovate ways to save money. One method that has sparked more interest is called slugging. CNN's correspondent Sandra Endo has more.
Long lines to hop in a car with strangers, with gas prices
ridiculous, outrageous, disappointing.
More people are resorting to blind carpooling called slugging, a way commuters from Northern Virginia going to Washington catch a free ride with drivers looking to beat the rush.
These are slugs.
These are all slugs waiting to hop in cars.
It started more than 30 years ago, but David LeBlanc's website helped organize this pseudo-secret society, listing where passengers can line up to find a ride.
For the drivers, especially with gas prices so high, it's not really benefiting them or saving them any money to pick up slugs, right?
Correct. It's not saving them any money, but it is saving them a lot of time. It would, like I said, it probably saves me at least 20 to 30 minutes each way on the commute.
That's because Virginia law requires drivers to have at least 3 people in a vehicle to use carpool lanes to breeze by the stop-and-go traffic.
We've added more and more slug lines. As gas prices have increased, those that may not have considered slugging now look at it as an option.
LeBlanc easily picks up a passenger hitching a ride from Virginia to the Pentagon. Why did you decide to slug? How does it help you?
It's inexpensive. It gets me to where I need to go, and gas is really expensive nowadays.
So otherwise, what options would you have to go to work?
I would have to drive, I would have to catch a cab or catch the commuter bus, the Omni ride.
So how much would that cost?
With gas nowadays, anywhere between $50 to $70 to fill up my tank, and with the commuter bus, it's $7, which would be $14 for a whole day.
These nondescript slug lines form for the evening commute for commuters heading back to Northern Virginia from D.C. And the practice is catching on in other congested cities like in Dallas and San Francisco. A commuting partnership to save time and money. This is a free ride.
I know. Can't beat it.
Well, as you may know, everyone is a bit happy to see Avenue Q here at the Campus Theater.
And another kind of entertainment, fans aren't the only ones filling the stands. See how people reacted to this new crowd. More after the break.
All right, guys, we gotta be smarter about what we bite on, okay? I want everyone to go outside. We're gonna run Red Rover on 3.
What about you, Tony?
I'm gonna run around in circles, flatten my arms, and make engine noises like this.
When it comes to playing, we kids are the pros. We're eating right, too. We fuel up to play 60.
Your school doesn't have a program? Be a leader. Start one.
Click today and join the movement.
You realize that 49 million Americans struggle with hunger? That's 1 out of every 6 Americans.
These people are around us every day. They're our friends, they're our coworkers, their kids go to school with our kids.
Sometimes we're not even aware that they're struggling. This problem is closer than you think. But so is the solution.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
Pants, pants, pants. I am folding the pants. The pants are long. Do they go on my head? Do they? Do the pants go on my head? No. They go on.
Everyday moments can become teaching moments because learning starts long before school does. Give your child the start they need at bornlearning.org.
Now, have you ever wondered how the alter egos of Sesame Street puppets would act? Well, you're in luck. The Campus Theater at the Square presents Avenue Q, an adult Broadway blockbuster that features 11 puppets who try to figure out their purpose in life. After opening last weekend to a sold-out crowd, reviews have described the show as plush and dirty. This show is not suitable for children and contains strong language and adult-only subject matter. For more information on showtimes and tickets, go to www.campustheater.com.
Well, ladies, if you see a male friend walking around with a little shrubbery under his nose, you might ask if he is part of the Mustache March. No, not a new fad, but a new way the Sigma Phi Epsilon fraternity is raising awareness about a very important health issue for men. It's part of the prostate awareness campaign going on this month, and NTTV's Matthew Alvarez has the scratchy details.
With midterms coming up, students here at UNT have enough to worry about, but one of our fraternities is focused on something more problematic.
Actually have a philanthropy event going, raising money for prostate cancer awareness.
Prostate cancer is a rising problem in men all around, and the Sigma Phi Epsilon fraternity is using Mustache March to do something unique about it.
You know, you can have crazy hair in general, crazy socks, who has the craziest clothes, everything. And you know, just mustaches is one of those things. It's out of the ordinary. It calls people out of their comfort zone to come talk to us.
Prostate cancer is the second most common form of cancer for men, and 2 million American men are living with it. Men are generally the only ones at risk for prostate cancer, and every 1 out of 6 are diagnosed. The older a man gets increases his risk of cancer.
Maybe I can get to a few people out there, and they will listen to me and know that this is a big deal.
If you wish to help out, you can like the UNT Mustache March Facebook page and receive more information. With NTTV Nightly News, I am Michael Olivares.
Awareness is in, cancer is out.
Well, Major League Baseball is geared up for another season, and the buzz around the league's fresh start has fans of all kinds excited, including bees. Now, what you see on the screen is not an illusion. Bees swarmed an exhibition game between the Arizona Diamondbacks and San Francisco Giants yesterday. The Bees came around the second inning and flew down the right field line into the Giants' dugout. The Bees caused a 41-minute delay and forced stadium officials to evacuate 2 sections of fans. Reports show only 1 person was stung, and the ground crew didn't use honey to lure the bees away. Instead, the crew mixed lemonade and cotton candy to shoo the bees away.
Okay, Steve, now either those bees were huge baseball fans or they wanted to stop the season before it began.
They need to come to Texas and visit the
anything to get a free spring training ticket, you know? Anything to see a free game, that's all.
That's true. That is true.
All right, coming up tonight on sports, who's the hottest team at North Texas? You might be surprised. And I'll have an update on the men's and women's basketball games from the Sun Belt Conference Tournament in Hot Springs. Don't go anywhere, because I'll be right back.
Hands can do incredible things. Now they can even help save a life with hands-only CPR. If you see an adult suddenly collapse, just call 911, then push hard and fast in the center of the chest until help arrives. Learn more at handsonlycpr.org.
This is NTTV Sports.
Who's the hottest team at North Texas right now? The tennis team. That's right. The women's tennis team has been on a tear of late and have jumped 21 spots in the national rankings from 61st to 40th. With a devastating loss to number 30 ranked Tulsa, the Mean Green bounced back with a dominating performance against previously undefeated Kansas. They beat the Jayhawks 6-1 on Sunday afternoon. Assistant head coach Jeff Marin said his team played with energy and passion and won the key points against a good Kansas team. North Texas will return to action at the War Ranch Tennis Complex on March 9th for the conference opener against Sunbelt foe Denver. And the Mean Green softball team competed in the Hyatt Downtown Tulsa tournament this past weekend. UNT started off the tourney by beating Loyola Chicago, losing to Tulsa, and then beating Austin PA twice to advance to the championship game on Sunday afternoon. And facing off against Tulsa in the championship, UNT only managed to score 1 run off a homer from senior catcher Caitlin Grimes. The end result was a 6-1 loss for North Texas. Grimes, however, was named Conference Co-Player of the Week after her stellar performance in the tournament, hitting .571 on 8 hits and knocked in 8 RBIs, with 4 of those hits being home runs. The Mean Green will begin conference play this weekend when they travel to Louisiana to play nationally ranked Louisiana Lafayette. And speaking of Louisiana Lafayette, the North Texas men's basketball team started off the conference tournament in Hot Springs yesterday against the Lafayette Raging Cajuns, and was it a close game. 20 lead changes, 12 of them in the second half. No team led by more than 5 points, and late in the game, big shot Brandon Walton hit a 3 to put North Texas up 65-62, which ended up being the game winner. And as of right now, the North Texas Mean Green are playing in the semifinals against the Arkansas State Red Wolves, who upset the number 1 seeded Middle Tennessee State, and North Texas is leading that game 25-15 late in the first half. Now, switching over to the women's side, the Mean Green played on Saturday against the 3-seeded Mean Green, played against the 6-seeded Troy Trojans.